I famously walked out the first time I lost an Eisner.
Is that true? Hey, welcome to the show. Tom's back. Hey, Tom, how are you, man? Tom King, everybody. Woo!
What an absolute pleasure to be here. I love your podcast. I more than I love not your stream. I'm sorry. I apologize. I already
Hey, no, there's a podcast too. It's all gravy, baby.
Jeez, look at you.
Yeah.
I love your fans. You have such loyal fans.
Me too, man.
I was back from Baltimore Comic Con. I say this every time. I'm sorry. I apologize that the boring part comes at the beginning.
Better here than later.
Yeah. So this is the good fast forward time. This is the time when Tom says things he always says. I was just at Baltimore Comic Con. I met probably 100 people that told me I love Sal's show. I love seeing you on Sal. I tried your book because of Sal. I wish Sal was here. Sal abandoned us. I no longer like Sal. I now only watch YouTube videos of Minecraft. So that's you've lost your entire audience. But Minecraft got some well needed attention.
Good, they could use it. Yeah, if any franchise could use the boost.
Yeah,
it's Minecraft.
They were falling behind. I ran into so many. Do you have a name for your fans? Are they Sal heads? Are they Saladnots? Are they salads?
Well, because yes, salads. These are all great pitches, by the way. You're just wasting. I'm sorry, but we have a
charge you.
Seriously, yeah. Well, we'll talk about your rates later, but for now, since it's ComicPop, we actually we coined it long ago. We called it the population.
Oh,
right.
That sounds very culty. I'm part of the population.
Yeah, no, I know, but we don't use it as colloquially as some other groups do. So I think we'll be okay.
I like
it's more like a secret handshake.
If you want population, that's fine.
Yeah, population. Yeah, I do like salads though. That's a close second. But man,
to all the population out there, I am incredibly grateful for you. And I know Sal a little bit, and everyone in comics knows Sal, and he is just as cool behind the scenes as he is in front of them. So you have put your faith in the right cult leader.
You flatter me, sir. No, I'm sorry I missed out on Baltimore. I love that show, and I love that you never miss it. You've been there a lot of years now.
I think this was my 14th year or something in a row. I've been going something like that. Yeah, 2010, 2009. That would be my first one.
Right. Also, congratulations, because the Ringos are at Baltimore Comic Con. You and your team, Elsa Chartier from Love Everlasting, Chartier, won a Ringo Award. You yourself claimed it for us.
I also lost one.
Yes.
So Mitch and I have a fight over this. I need a neutral observer.
Okay. All right.
I had lost already. I had lost the Hugo. I had lost the Eisner. I'm about to lose a Harvey. So if I had lost the Ringo, I would lose all 4 major comic book awards in 1 year.
Yeah.
It was like the reverse EGOT. It's like the loser got.
Yes.
The Legot. It's the Legot.
The Legot.
The loser EGOT. And so I was sitting next to Mitch. I was like, I was like, I'm going for this record. I'm gonna run this gauntlet. I'm gonna lose all the awards 1 year straight up.
Yep.
And I lost one, but then I won the last one of the night.
Yeah.
I'm wearing my White Sox hat because they're gonna break the record for most losses probably tonight.
That's so true.
Or they could win 6 in a row, which would be the best baseball movie of all time.
Yeah.
So I lost one and won one. Can I still get my loser EGOT? I would still technically lose them all, but I would have won one.
Yeah,
what do you think?
So on one hand, I mean, okay, so no, I don't think you can qualify because you did win one. You have to
that's
lose
what
them
Mitch
all.
said.
You got to lose them all, man. No, and the thing is, though, it's winning for losing because you also were nominated at all the comic book awards for things. It wasn't like you lost because you go every year and you pay the ticket price and you eat mediocre meals and never see your name up on the effing screen. You know, these are book. We were literally talking about Gotham City Year One. We were doing a whole back issues on it. It's almost 2 hours long. It comes out tomorrow, actually, at the timing of this recording.
Holy crap! You read that book? I love that book. Nobody read that book.
I love Gotham City Year One. It's one of my. It might be one of my absolute favorite things you've ever done. But we're talking about it, and I was like, oh yeah, that lost an Eisner. And my pal Ethan was just like, he has enough Eisners. It's just like, Yeah, but he'll
Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, they just lost an Eisner. So
outrageous, but good. The book
Strange
that won
Adventures.
instead deserves it.
I've
But
lost as many as I've won.
yeah,
And it's no fun to lose. I'm a terrible loser. And
yeah. No, I saw you at the Eisners this year. You literally put your fist through the table. It
yes,
was an upset.
yes, that's my nickname for Mitch Garrett's is the table.
Yeah,
And I just popped him.
just popped him. Yeah, but Mitch is a good
Yeah,
guy. He has enough facial hair; it really hit all the blood. But
yeah. I mostly got blunted by beard. Thank God.
but
Yes,
yeah,
no. I famously walked out the first time I lost an Eisner.
is that true?
I did. That's how mature I am as a human
What was the
being. I
book? Was it
apologize.
what was it? Sheriff of Babylon, Omega Men,
No, it
something?
was a short story in a Vertigo anthology. I got nominated for best short story. It was called uh, Black Death in America.
Okay,
It was about a World War I hero whose name was Black Death, and who died in America. Subtle
aptly
title.
named.
And it was a J.P. Leone. It was done in black and white. The late great J.P. Leone.
Oh no way!
And it's a beautiful story. I still think it's one of the best things I ever wrote. Um, and it was a blow because John Lewis was giving out the award.
Okay.
It's when he was doing it, famous American hero John Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
And by coincidence, I happened to at that time live a block away from John Lewis.
Oh,
And John Lewis was a kind of guy who would hang out in his sort of porch, and he loved little kids, and so my little kids he'd be like, oh, and he would come back and kind of play with my kids,
oh, cool.
especially my youngest Kraz, and but he didn't like know me. He kind of knew not because everywhere he went, he was swarmed with people, so he kind of just
Sure.
knew like, oh, I was that guy in his neighborhood who had a cute kid. So I was like, if I get the award from him, John Lewis, and the award Black Death in America was about civil rights and kind of things like you'd be into, I could be like, yo, I'm that guy from your neighborhood, and I got this award,
Yeah.
and we will now be best friends, Mr. American Hero, and we'll hang out and we'll watch football on Sundays. I don't know what he's into, but we'll do something.
Yeah.
And I had all these fantasies of me and John Lewis like in a field of flowers holding hands. And prancing like Homer Simpson. And then they announced Adrian Tomine won for some, sad guy looking out the window book. God bless him. That's how I make my living.
Right.
And I went to the person next to me who I don't think I knew. I think maybe it was Lieber Mayho. And I said, excuse me, I have to attend to the bathroom. And I walked right out of there.
That's fair. I mean, listen, they're long. The Eisners are a long affair, and if you have no horse in that race, it's even longer. You find out that there are categories. There's never going to be a comic podcast award at the Eisners, but there will always be a new category added to the Eisners every year, just to add another 45 minutes runtime to that award ceremony.
Eisners are way too long. The Ringos are a much more fun ceremony if you're going to go to a comic book ceremony.
Yes,
it's very casual. It's you don't have to get all. I mean, everyone dresses just a little bit up instead of a lot of bit up.
Yeah,
and people are just kind of silly, and it's kind of like the Golden Globes kind of vibe. I've never been to the Harveys. This will be my first Harveys I've ever been to.
That's interesting. I have been to the Harveys because we were once nominated for an award, and it was the first, last, and only time the Harveys nominated a podcast.
Can people see this full screen so they can see my dog sort of sleeping in the background?
Oh, they'll definitely see her in the background. Yeah,
next to some Dan Parent art I just bought that just hanging out the bottom.
Awesome. No, I love the actually there is like what's what in the background of Tom King's set, kind of like scavenger hunt going on in every
They
episode.
can. Yeah, you can. I mean, you can see stuff I'm working on. Like, they have a Green Lantern thing over my corner, and there's an Archie thing.
Oh, careful.
And then, yeah.
And
then my dog is sleeping next to a big thing I stole from a ship where we were doing Heroes in Crisis.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I know I got this ship. That's me. I don't know. But it's a big old Clayman page where I can stare at my goddamn talent. Clayman.
That's dope. That's dope.
No, this is the Baltimore Harveys, not the.
Yeah, no, it was pre New York. It was when Baltimore had the Harveys.
Maybe I was there at the ceremony.
You might have been there actually.
I won a Harvey back in the Baltimore days. I have one Harvey.
No kidding.
for most promising, like new talent kind of thing.
Oh, well, they were they were right about that.
I have to live up to it.
Yeah.
I have it right here in reach. Here it is.
That is really
There's
impressive.
my
All right, what
Harvey.
year was it?
What year is Twitter to say on it there? 2016.
Yeah. No.
That's like the last year of the harvest.
Yeah, I think it was. I think you're right.
Most promising new talent.
Very nice. Well earned.
There you go. All been
I have to
downhill
ask,
since.
it's all been downhill. I think some of your best stuff has come out in the past year. I think it's so effing cool and good. So I guess we could talk about that. I know people are here to listen to us talk about comics.
Wait, before we get to that, let's talk about what we're really here to talk about. How are you approaching your Terminator script as your mentor, obviously as your inspiration, as
naturally.
your editor? I want to see how many 9-panel grids did you? Because I recommended you use all 9-panel grids.
Only 9 panels. Yeah,
only good. Or you didn't do like 16 like Dark Knight Returns.
Oh my God, it's more than 16. But those, it just looks like graph paper after a certain.
Oh, that's what you just the graph paper.
Just graph paper, and just take my word for it. There's art in there. Yeah, no, you've been so sweet about it. I do appreciate you boosting me, because I've folks who probably know by now I'm writing a backup for Terminator. This is not the time for that. We're here to celebrate Tom King.
It is 100% the time of that. I want to hear your approach. First, how many pages did they give you? Or
10.
You let us
Originally, they gave me 8, and then what happened was they gave me 8. Well,
already asking for more pages. You're such a guy.
I didn't ask for more. Well, I did actually do a little thing where. So here's what happened. I managed to BS my way into getting the gig at all, and they were like, "We're thinking 8 pages," and I was talking to them about the idea, and they were like, "All right, just send us your pitch." And I sent them the pitch for my 6-issue miniseries that I'd already written years ago. And
wait, you wrote this is a fan thing, or you had?
It was an idea that I had that originally started out as a Terminator Predator crossover, and after Marvel got the license, I was like, on a pirate ship, naturally. Sure. But my team / friends / wife all were like, you have to stop. Like, you have to just focus on one thing at a time. So I was like, all right. So I was like, I pulled the Predator element out of the Terminator story, and I found out there's still a really cool story in there. And it's essentially just the Wild Bunch in Terminator. Like, it's just it's the horrible future. What do you do with criminals in the apocalypse? So that's the pitch.
Wild Bunch in Terminator. That's your pitch. I am in.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You said chocolate and peanut butter.
Exactly.
That sounds
right?
Amazing.
So Wild Bunch in Terminator. That was the original.
You had to do that in 10 pages. Woo.
No, yeah, they were like, you can't do that in 10. They were like, it's a little big. How about 10 pages? So I got 2 extra pages out of asking for like a 4 to 6 issue miniseries, which I feel like is a win.
No, that's a win. That's a victory.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So now I've truncated.
I asked for 700 of Batman, so when they gave me 85, I was like, "Fuck."
So true.
I said 700 in my contract.
Yeah, it's what's interesting, of course, with your Batman is you famously wanted the 100-issue run. You did ultimately wrap it up with Batman, Catwoman, but also keep stealth releasing Batman books with the Penguin series, and so forth. So your 100-issue run has exceeded 100 issues at this point now, because your Batman is every Batman that you write.
Changing the subject from your Terminator book, you goddamn modest man. All right, so you've got 10 pages. Where did it? And so how much of the? Don't give away the story, but how much of the Wild Bunch is still in there? Like is it
absolutely zero.
Zero.
There's no more.
So you had to just start from some.
I had to start from scratch twice. I pitched them on the Wild Bunch. They were like, "That's not going to happen." I mean, they were like, "Maybe." I mean, if for God's sake, if the book sells, who knows? But for now, why don't you focus on making something that could be told in 10 pages? So I whipped up, and actually, my pitch was, okay, fine. How about I came up with 3 or 4 pitches. Each of them was basically a prequel to each member of the Wild Bunch.
Oh.
So you're like, all right, so maybe if we do.
So they asked you for one pitch, and you're like, here's a way to hire me 8 times.
I basically,
smart freelance.
Thank you. Mutual acquaintance of ours, I should say, actually friend at this point, Joshua Williamson, showed me. He gave me like a pitch deck.
Josh's name is dropped. That goddamn guy is in our heads.
He is prolific. He's a bad penny. You can't get rid of him.
No, he's one of my best friends. I love him. We talk every week, and yeah,
I know he always reminds me of it.
Great at comics and comic business.
He's amazing. But yeah, he gave me his pitch deck where he's like, "This is how you pitch. This is how you put it together." And so I came up with like 3 or 4.
He has a pitch deck of how to pitch.
Well, it's just his pitches, but so
Ah.
it's broken down so that it's easy to follow, and it can be like a format that you can actually use. Because for folks at home, there is no like standard comic book format for anything, like script, pitch, whatever. It's just whatever the editors respond to best, and or how prolific and popular you are. Like Bendis famously for a while only wrote like movie scripts, didn't break it down by panels, until eventually he was like, okay, my artist really, really wants me to break it down by panels and pages. So here you go. And you can follow that by picking up like Words for Pictures, his great book. Speaking of which, where's yours, Tom? You got to be writing a book at this point. I mean, even Alan Moore has like a little thin book about how to write comic books. We need
How
a
did he
we need
have
a Stephen
time
King
to
book.
do that? Doesn't that blow your mind that in the middle?
I
That was like he was like writing Watchmen at the same
Yeah,
time.
that
He's like,
was
I'm gonna write a
literally
book.
that was yeah, like late
That's
'80s, early
I
'90s
didn't
when that
know
came
that.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a wonderful little book.
right. Yeah, and it's just apparently Alan Moore's way of how to write comic books is like just make sure it's all in caps, use a typewriter that is haunted, and then just fill it.
I love that book. I'm haunted by that book when I write because there's some incredible observations on storytelling, and I recommend it to anyone who are. The one thing that most haunts me is his idea of first. He had this idea of comic books of being three dimensionals, and like first dimensional characters were the original like DC characters, where they had like their only motivation was to do good. Superman, I am do good because I'm bored and I'm a do gooder. And
Yeah,
then he said second dimension was the Stan Lee characters, which is I have a reason I do good. Uncle Ben died. It makes me feel guilty, so therefore I do good. He said that's like a second dimensional kid. They have one motivation, and they do much better. And then he's like, I'm trying to do three dimensional where they don't have actual specific motivations for every action, that they're just normal people that change their mind and go back and forth. And I'm haunted by that because I feel like I don't write that. I'm constantly trying to write that, and I wish I was like, oh, am I doing two dimensional characters? Goddamn, Alan Moore's mad at me again.
yeah.
And
That's because I think you also have an approach which is steeped in your love of the golden age. Like you actually love and have no real disdain for comic books, which I'm not saying that Alan Moore does, but certainly at this point, you know, his love is it may have tarnished at this point for the medium. But you love these characters. Like you want to tell a story about how Batman is good, as opposed to being like, well, if Batman were real, he'd be a fascist.
that is true. I've never had that. Yeah, I've never had the desire to kind of, like Mark Miller at the end of Wanted and just like throw everybody under the bus.
That's
Um,
fair. Yeah.
I,
Although
I legit love comics and love superheroes, and yeah, that's true.
where so I have to ask about this because I've been thinking about I think about it every time I pick up an issue of Jenny Sparks, and it's was there any version where you would write the Authority?
I would, not as well as it was written when it was written by its original author,
Sure.
or drawn by Hitch.
Oh man, yeah, what a good looking book.
Oh my god, it's just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
Is there a version of the Authority? Yes, I would. There's very few characters I would say no to if it was the right artist and the right project. I
That's
can't
true.
imagine. Yeah.
I just want to see
Um,
your take on it because I know that the Authority is such an interesting examination of the real world and about geopolitical activity in America and the world, etc. And it's like and also we've only really seen it from the vantage point of the UK, through the lens of American comics, and I kind of want to see what an American would do with it. Although my wife disagrees. She's like, I need to see Cy Spurrier's The Authority, and I'm like, there's room for both.
I would like to see Cy Spurrier's Authority too. And
Yeah,
there's
it'd be really miserable and dark and really good.
inherently British about it. There's something. There's John Hickman's Authority. I think is like, but I think that he would be the
Mm,
classic person to do that. There
that's
is a
fair.
like a little bit of I have uh, um what do you call it, an adversity, or I forget the word for it. Like I dislike things that have kind of a little fascisticness to
Yeah,
them,
that's
um,
fair.
which I think you throw, and obviously it plays with it,
Yes.
um, but there is some level of like I don't like to write characters who are like I have all the answers. Why isn't everyone as smart as me?
Uh-huh.
Um, like those aren't the characters I like to write. I like to write characters that are feats of clay and sort of mess up and do the best they can.
Right,
And
right.
I feel like the Authority, like the key to love, and I really love those first 12 issues. I think are, I mean, obviously they're revolutionary comics in terms of like they change how everyone does storytelling.
Yep.
Um, Along with just to shout them out, the great John Cassaday was doing in
Oh yeah,
Planetary simultaneously.
yeah, that's right.
Um, but there is that element to that writing. I think it's from that sort of place and time where it's like, if only there was a group of 12 people who told us what to do all the time, we would know, we would be. And I'm just
That's fair.
I think I was raised, I was raised in LA at a certain point in my, I just knew too many people who joined cults, and
Mm,
I don't like anybody who thinks they have all the answers and tells other people that they have the answers. It drives me a little bonkers. I'm more of a
yeah.
guy, my sort of I'm more of a squadron supreme guy than an authority guy in terms of my own sort of moral outlook. Like that to me is the best examination of that, of the concept of what authority is. I
Yeah.
mean, it's also what Kingdom Come was, and what a lot of modern superhero stuff is. But the
Yep.
idea of like, if the superheroes tried to do that, if they tried to do good, it would somehow fall apart. I mean, obviously I wrote a sequel to Animal Farm, so that's, anytime you try to achieve utopia by getting rid of democracy, I think it just leads to shit. So
Totally. Totally. So really what you're saying is you'd probably write The Last Authority if you were to write any authority at all. Or they're like, it would just be the last page, just be them kind of going like, you know what, I think we're a bunch of assholes. Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, you know what, forget this.
they're cool characters, Doctor and Hawksmoor, and
Yeah.
Midnighter.
Engineer.
Those, I mean, that's
Cool. I don't
awesome.
know. But
Engineer, yeah, no, they're super cool characters.
yeah. But Jenny Sparks, what so I have to know, I
While the
assume.
Growlixes.
No,
I feel like that's the most. I did not expect that to be the controversy in the book. That
yeah.
I don't put this all the swear words in.
No, I know. Well, it's a Black Label. That's what kills me about so much with respect to your latest work, because I feel like you just need the words, but at the same time, it's almost fun. Like with Penguin, it's funny because
Well, yeah, Agent Bleep and all that
yeah,
stuff.
because I should believe it's just because it's just fun to imagine, and also you're filling in the words. But I feel like you kind of have like a Kyle Rayner girl in the refrigerator situation where like you're imagining the most worst scenario when it really might not be nearly as bad if you just had the curse word.
Well, there's two things with Jenny Sparks. Number one, I've said this before. I look, I have one of the dirtiest mouths. That sounds wrong. I fucking swear all the time, as people
Sure.
will remind you. My wife says I came back from Iraq swearing and sort of never stopped.
Mhm.
So that's probably why my character swears so much, because I just think when I fucking talk, that's like, if you talk to me in a bar, every third word is fuck. It's
It's
depressing.
true. Yeah, no. You and I
Um,
walked the floor of Baltimore Comic Con last year for like about 10 minutes, and I was like, I have to leave. This guy just completely just cursed up a blue streak. It just like I'm getting looks from parents who are like, "Who's this man in a Columbo shirt?"
I'm horrible. I was just on a Batman panel with Klaus Janson, and I talking about Batman. I somehow dropped like 3 F-bombs, and afterwards, like, a little kid dressed as Wonder Robin was sitting like, "I loved your panel." I was like, "Oh fuck!" I was like, "Oh shit!" I mean, "Oh shit!" Um, so I do, but I generally, as a rule, if I'm working in with DC superheroes, I put the
Mhm.
Growlixes in my stuff when I'm doing like Rorschach. When I'm outside, the world is full. Rorschach's full of fucks, and
Yes.
Jenny has fucks, and not Jenny, Helen of Windhorn. God, I'm running
Yes, Helen of
too
Winterhorn, one of
too
the
many
best books in the
female
shelves today.
characters.
Yep.
Um, uh, but when I don't know. Whenever I see like Superman in a panel and someone else is saying fuck or shit, it just doesn't read right to me. I don't know, but I'm just maybe too old.
Mm.
I just put
I don't know, man.
when I read the Growlixes, I just read them clearly
As the words that they
as the words
stand
that
in
they are.
for.
So that's half of the other half is Jenny is using a word that I can't use. That
True.
a lot of British people use
Use all the time.
use a
Yeah.
certain swear word in a lot of different contexts, and
Yeah.
I cannot use that word. I will not use that word, because in an American context, it's something else. Um, and
I
so
think it means the same thing, by the way. I think they just are
probably
happy to use it. It's
we
not
have
like
a
fanny here, where like
yes.
fanny means rear end here, but it does not mean that in the aisles. It is the other side.
Yes, so because of that specific word that in my mind she uses all the time, especially to refer to other superheroes.
Yeah.
I would have to use Growlixes anyways, because I just couldn't write that. Those are the two things. The
But
girl.
that's the controversy so far is that
That
Jenny
seems
doesn't
the
use a
most
curse.
bizarre. Just put the curse words in your head. I have faith in you.
It's true.
Most
Actually,
of them are fuck. A few of them are that word I was
are
talking
the other
about.
one, the C word.
Yeah, and
But
like once in a while it's a shit. That's all I'm saying.
sure. That's pretty much how I fill it in as well. I have to ask though, because there's a moment that came up on our podcast, like comic book review show, because the Jenny Sparks 2 just came out recently, and there's a moment where there's an implied history between Jenny and Clark, and
Yeah.
she says that they snogged, which of course in the British parlance means they kissed.
Yes, they kissed. Snogged.
But
Yes.
I interpreted that as being more than kissing. Not that snogging doesn't mean more than kissing, but I don't think that Clark would have as much of a chip on his shoulder if all he did was have a stolen smooch from the spirit of the 20th century. I think, and I'm asking you, and you're free to not answer this question
Of
or
course.
dodge it however you feel,
I will.
if Jenny and Clark maybe had a dalliance or two.
I will dodge the crap out of that question. I will say that of all the lines I've written recently, that was the one that was edited the most. Like literally, we
Oh,
went through like 15 drafts of what I was allowed to say to imply this
okay.
relationship.
Mm-hmm.
There were many arguments over whether, I think at one point I put they hooked up, and they're like, "Oh, hooked up can mean a lot of
It
things."
could mean a lot of things. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. And I
So
can imagine
we
she's British. You're like,
landed on snog
right,
as
because that means
after many
yes.
kind of kissing.
All
So
right. So what you see is what
it
you
was
get.
a negotiation.
All right. So we don't want to get
And
anybody in trouble. They only
I
kissed.
didn't.
Yeah.
I'm just no. I'm just saying you read it the way you want to read it.
I
That's
see.
all I'm
Okay.
saying.
It's up to
I
interpretation.
can confirm or deny nothing.
Yeah. I one of my favorite reactions to Jenny Sparks lately was I saw someone talking about them reading the first issue and them going, "This is the new status quo for Captain Atom," and the top comment on Reddit was, "I don't get it. Why isn't he exploding?" Because that is what Captain Atom does.
He explodes. It is not the new status for Captain Adam. This is a Black Label book.
Yeah, he can do all kinds of things now. Yeah, no, and he only explodes in the main DC universe. In Black Label, he might actually have like an arc or two.
Yes, this Captain Adam lives somewhere between Captain Adam and Doctor Manhattan.
Sure.
It's
Well, he's obviously the inspiration for him, so yeah.
yeah. Obviously, they have that relationship, and part of my inspiration was like, I mean, this is completely meta, but the idea that if Captain Adam ever picked up a copy of Watchmen, he's like, "What the hell? This guy's God, and all I do is like fight on the Bwahaha jail."
Yeah.
Like he's doing so much more with his powers than I am. I'm like firing out some red rays at people every once in a while, and Doctor Manhattan is
Right.
creating new races of humans on Mars. Um, so it was Watchmen inspired to kind of give him this
Gotcha.
thing where he wants to be God. Yeah.
Fair. Before we get back to comics, you broached a subject that I wanted to ask. I think it's on everyone's minds the second you mentioned it. You said that a hypothetical scenario would be the best baseball movie. What is the best baseball movie?
Major League is the best baseball movie.
Oh,
I'm going there. That's my wife's favorite all-time movie. So I've watched it, and she watches it on repeat like once a year. We watch it, yeah. I have some. So each of my children can quote. It's very sentimental to me. I mean, there are other fantastic. I mean,
are you talking about A League of Their Own?
I'm watching a Major League, motherfucker, with Wild Thing.
All right.
Bow, 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 bow,
Yeah,
bow, bow.
yeah. All right,
That's
that's
the
fair.
best
Yeah, Major
ending. What are
League
you
is a great
talking
movie.
about?
All right.
Wesley Snipes is in that movie. Charlie
Yeah.
Sheen.
No, it's a good. That's a good movie. I was like sentimental. All right. Yeah.
No, it's sentimental because it was. I for her birthday, I bought her like the original poster, which is now hanging in our hallway.
Cool.
Yeah, that's I guess the sentiment. I mean, my wife can quote that from beginning to end. It's almost like a second language in my house.
That's
like
cool.
if my kid throws something at the sink and it misses, we're like, oh, just a bit outside. If I don't know, we're like downstairs and the kids having trouble going, fuck you, Joe Boo, I do it myself. But we don't say fuck you. I say fuck you. But my kids
right.
They say growl licks you up, Joe Boo.
Exactly. That's the substitute word.
Yes. I just saw If You Build It, They Will Come just for the first time.
Field of Dreams. No
I
shit. You've never seen Field of Dreams?
never seen it. I somehow just missed it as a child,
Oh,
and it's one of those movies like when you miss it as a child, you
it
see
doesn't have the
so
same.
many clips from it
Yep.
throughout your life that you just tell people you've seen it. You're like, yeah, of
Sure.
course I know what happens. Like they build a
Because you don't
Field of
want that
Dreams.
reaction. You don't want people to go, "You've never seen Field of Dreams."
Yes, that's
That's what
right.
we're watching right now, bitch. And then they just put it into the DVD.
That's right. So James Earl Jones died, and so we were looking for a movie to watch with the family. And I was like, let's watch Field of Dreams. And and it wasn't what I thought it was. It's not
No.
just about building the field. Like that's like the
No.
first 15 minutes. There's so much more.
I figured that you'd be like a sucker for Field of Dreams. That's like
It's a White Sox movie too.
Seriously, that's a slice of Americana. That's like a piece of apple pie with cheddar cheese on it. It's outrageous. You've never seen it before.
I had never seen it before.
Did you like
it? Yes, I enjoyed it immensely.
Did it have any kind of effect, or were you kind of like missed it, like missed the window?
Oh no, I cried.
Okay.
I
every time.
When he went out to, he went out to play catch to have a catch. I was like, I didn't want to talk because I didn't want my kids were all in the room. I was like,
they'd hear the.
Yeah.
Well, what's up here? Anybody need more popcorn?
All right, what's up? Let's do this thing.
That's one of my wife's favorite movies. I was in the exact same position. I
ease his pain. Now we've been walking around,
ease his
just
pain.
to tease my children, and
Moonlight Graham. I saw it, I think, on like TBS when I was like 11, and I didn't care at all. And my wife is a huge fan of that movie, and she was like, "Oh, we're watching this." I watched it, cried, and we found out my friend Ben was a co-host of the show. He had never seen it before. We didn't know he'd never seen it before. We were like, "Oh, I'm feeling like Field of Dreams. Let's throw on Field of Dreams. That's a fun romp."
Yeah,
fun romp.
Yeah, sure.
We get to have a catch, and it's like around that period where someone in the room remembered that Ben had never seen it before or realized he'd never seen it before, and you just heard in the darkness.
I get it. I was there. I was there.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I didn't know. There's so many. I have to ask you about this because I have a similar. I have a self-aggrandizing.
In case you're wondering, I took my kids out to play catch the very next day.
Yes, because you don't want them
thing as a guilt trip. Yes.
You don't want to be gone and have them see it again and then be like, he never did.
I don't want them to be like, "Oh, Dad's back from the dead. You mind if I go in the corner and play on my iPad?" No, come on.
You got $20.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Let's have something.
I didn't realize I have these moments too, and I think it hit when I was 30. I made a reference to this on another show where like once I hit 30, like everything started to make me cry. Where I'd like go into a store and see a dog like chained up to like a stop sign outside the store, and I'd be like, "What if they don't come back?" Just everything hit me. But and I was like, but I didn't realize it. It hits you in different ways. And I remember I was talking to my wife about Spectacular Spider-Man 200, the issue with J.M. DeMatteis, Sal Buscema. Harry Osborn dies. It's that issue. And I was describing the ending. And I had thought about this book 1,000 times. I own 2 copies of just, a Spider-Man comic, whatever. But as I was explaining it and I quoted it, I had that Field of Dreams. I'm like, like you're my best friend. And I'm like, what the hell's happening to me? And every time I read it now, like when it's just that silent page of like Spider-Man telling Mary Jane he's gone, and then like all the cigarette butts on their photo as children, and I'm just like, it just kills me. Do you have a comic book like that where you're like, holy shit, I didn't know I cared. I thought it was just a comic book, but I guess it hits me. Besides Archie, obviously.
I remember the first time that happened. I can at least tell you the first time. And it's dumb. It's super dumb, and I'm sure nobody will even remember this. Because I was probably like 12 or 13 the first time I cried at a comic, which is I didn't rush into middle school and tell everyone what had happened. I kept it to myself. Yeah, it was What If #1. The relaunch of the What If by Chris Claremont and Ron Wilson, and it was like, what if the heroes lost the Evolutionary War?
Oh my god, I have that issue. Yeah. That
I'm not proud of this moment.
No, listen, I'm glad it had an effect, but what specifically hit you?
at the very so what happens in that issue is the heroes like keep evolving until they kind of become God and they leave Earth
Yes.
behind, and then the Earthlings also evolve, but then like a few heroes don't, like Daredevil doesn't, and like Vision doesn't because he's a robot, and then there's like a conversation by a grave where they're like, we're the last ones, like we're the final ones, and the world has sort of gone out with us, and we're the only ones who remember what it used to be. And I was just like,
Wow. Yeah,
something
that
like
okay.
that.
That tracks.
So I don't know. Yeah,
Wow.
that's the dumbest comic you can cry at.
That's cool. I
Uh,
mean, like, listen, well, it's Claremont. At least it's not like, it was an issue of Ghost Rider during the 90s. Danny Ketch got pushed the hell over again, and it just broke
I
my
mean, there are
heart.
moments. I mean,
Is that the issue where they have the huge heads? Where they all look like the Watcher, basically?
yes, they all have huge, except for Daredevil and Vision, they're
Yeah.
like everybody else has huge heads, but I don't know why that hit me.
I kind
That
of
is
like that Matt would not he's like, no, not me.
that's
It's like,
because
I was rereading, we were talking
he
about,
wasn't quite human, but he wasn't quite a mutant.
yeah, I guess
He was
that's fair.
between the two.
I guess. All right. Because I was
At least that's
reading,
how I'm remembering it. I'm probably remembering it wrong.
no, but I was reading Zdarsky's Avengers Twilight, and there's that moment
I'm
where like
looking at my
there's
shelf to see which ones made me cry.
yeah. I mean, yeah. Oh, but in that you get to see like old Matt Murdock and just like that frown. He has like that Judge Dredd like frown line. I'm like, yes, that is what Matt looks like when he's like 70. He is just he can't smile anymore. His face is completely rigor mortis into a frown.
Oh, here's one. Here's one that'll hit you. Brave and the Bold. There was a relaunch briefly in the late aughts with Straczynski and
Oh,
Cliff
that'll do it.
Chang. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think
It's a,
so.
it's an issue about uh, what you basically see is it's like a bachelorette party for Wonder Woman and I'm gonna say Supergirl, but I'm wrong on that.
Hmm.
Get together to
Yeah.
give Batgirl a bachelorette party,
Okay.
and they're kind of like, and you see like at the beginning Wonder Woman has been like on a magic quest. He's like, oh my god, and then like 2/3 of the way through, they kind of reveal the reason they're giving her this party is because it's the day before she'll get shot by the Joker, and they're giving her sort
What?
of yes. And Wonder Woman knows about it and can't stop it, but wants to give her sort of one last chance to
Oh my
sort of
god.
go dancing and sort of and kind of and they know and they know this is happening and they can't stop it. It's Cliff
Yeah.
Chang. It's a very beautiful issue, and I remember
Wow.
bringing me to tears.
I have never read that. That sounds awesome. From Babylon 5 creator J. Michael Straczynski. It makes a lot of sense. That's
Yeah,
yeah.
here it's
That
it's
dude.
in this trade.
Yes. Team ups of the Brave and the Bold. Yeah.
Came up with the Brave and the Bold.
Oh.
See if I can find it. It won like I think it won the Eisner for best issue of the year or something. It was like at the time pretty famous.
That's so nuts. I'm shocked I don't know it.
And
Wow.
the art is just out of the
Oh,
world.
Cliff Chong is just like killer.
No, it's the best. And
Yeah.
it'll make you cry. Ridiculously enough, there are pages that I've written that make me cry.
That's great. That's good. That means that it affected you. It means something to you. Yeah.
Yes, it's Supergirl. I mean, I wrote about this in the introduction, but the speech that the dad makes,
Oh.
in Supergirl 6 when
Yep.
she's just like, why me? Like, why are you saving me? And he just goes, because I'm going with what I'm talking about. And he just goes, because you're my little girl. And he's like, that's
Yeah.
it. That's like, so that gets me because I'm obviously father and daughter.
Sure.
And then bizarrely, the last page of Up in the Sky, which is Superman book,
yeah.
when he just turns and it's like, I'm your Superman, gives her a hug. I don't know why, but that cheers me up. I think
Yeah.
with Andy's art, like the hug, I don't know.
Dude, yeah.
That gets me.
Totemic moments really hit me now, where I'm like, that's a moment that just represents everything. Like Superman I can imagine if I saw like just a particularly well-rendered image of Superman being vulnerable or shielding someone from something, I'd be like, oh God, if only they existed.
Wait to Wonder Woman 14. That's the
I've pre-ordered it. It's already on my pull list. I can't wait.
Already had retailers say it made them cry. So
Nice.
we'll
I like that
see.
this is the weepy episode of the
This is
show.
the I know. We should
Yeah.
talk about comics that make us laugh. I don't know.
Yes. Like Animal Pound, for example. Congratulations on the rank award that you got for that.
It is a barrel of laughs.
Oh, just a whole, what is it, 5 issues of yucks.
There's some fun. There's some jokes in there. My favorite panel in the whole thing is when the dogs are trying to make new laws, and the one dog complains that there should be no stairs. Make everything lower.
Make everything lower. Yeah. I like the kitten cam and just how the kittens keep getting edged out of the videos, and it's just there's so much about that book that's so great, guys. If you haven't already checked out Animal Pound, it should be in collected volumes soon. But Peter Gross does some incredible, realistic, beautiful rendering of dogs and cats and rabbits as well. There's a moment in there that actually made me cry, and it was the passing of one of the characters. I don't want to give it away, but it was one of the cats. There's this beautifully rendered image of the cat having like passed away from an unknown illness, and and it just, I think it's because I had a black cat and she passed away from an unknown illness as well.
But that's a heartrending book.
Yeah. And I remember us talking about it. You were leading up to it, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is going to be Animal Farm with more adorable animals. This is going to be really sad, isn't it?" You're like, "No. It's an examination of American democracy under threat." And I was like, "Oh, okay, that sounds fun." And no, it's really sad, and also it's like
it's a super sad book.
But it's actually not nearly. It's more like esoterically sad. Like it's sad, like you watch.
Yeah,
like,
it's not like We Three. It doesn't like break you in half.
We Three is like terrorism. That is, it's emotional terrorism.
That is emotional terrorism.
We Three is deliberately made to make you sad. Animal Pound is a consequence. You see like a friendship eroded, and it's like you wonder if the friendship was ever there in the first place. That kind of sad. Existential sadness. That's the kind of sad. The sorrow for the passing of American democracy. These are the sorrows we feel in Animal Pound. No,
we have one reader of Animal Pound, but it's a prominent one. Stephen King, for some reason, loves that book.
Really? That's dope.
Yes. That is, he's tweeted about it a few times. So
you got to get him to write the foreword.
Yeah, we'll see. So it's definitely, as soon as he tweeted out, my editor's like, "Well, we have our cover quotes."
Hell yeah, right? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So yeah. So and we won the Ringos.
Yep. Best single issue.
Best single issue for number 1 with Peter Tamra
Bonneville,
Clayton and I.
Amazing.
And it's a hard hitter, but I have confidence in it. It's something special.
Yeah. I need to talk about this really quick. Just the fact that they reprinted the Batman Elmer Fudd Lee Weeks Tom King book,
and they're doing oversized hardcovers coming up. There's a deluxe
hardcover, deluxe edition of that issue. How do you feel about it now that this far removed? Now that you can never do a sequel to it. You can never return.
I will never return. Yeah, I'll say no to that. Someone's like, "You want to do some fun?"
No, I don't think they can do it. I don't think they. I think they're never.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's impossible. Just for rights reasons. You're
you just can't.
Right. Yeah. It's not a book that can be. Someone brought that book. Number one, they reprinted it. And I can't believe there's 2 typos in that book, and I fixed them for the trade, and they didn't fix them for the reprint. So the reprint is the genuine typoed.
So it's like a facsimile edition where it's like you get the real experience.
And they did it black and white, so you could see the beautiful Lee Weeks art. But they also included my little Bugs Bunny cartoon that's in the back of the book, which is also black and white, which I immensely enjoyed.
Yep.
I couldn't be. That book is so bizarre, and no book I've written is more bizarre than that book, and sort of what's come of that. Did you know I got hired to write a Bugs Bunny movie off that book?
No, really? Yes. Like a whole? Was it meant to be for streaming, or was it theatrical, or what was the? It
was supposed to be a theatrical. I can't. There was let's just say there was a major movie star.
Okay.
Like major movie star, A-list movie star.
Yeah, A-list.
Who wanted to be in a Bugs Bunny movie. This is not the John Cena
like movie. A la Space Jam, or kind of like a...
Yeah, a la Space Jam. They wanted to do kind of a buddy
like a Roger
cop.
Rabbit. Yeah.
Like a Roger Rabbit. Exactly. Like a Roger Rabbit thing with Bugs Bunny. And they were looking for someone who had done something with these characters. And they're like, Tom had done this Elmer Fudd
He
book.
did this.
And they reached out to me. And for 6 months of my life, I wrote this I wrote on this movie, and I failed. I could not crack it.
You couldn't
But
crack it? Did you deliver anything?
oh, I probably pitched 60 different ideas.
Mm.
Don't worry, I got paid. Everything is fine.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
And but it's my favorite Hollywood story. Oh my god. Can I tell the story? What's the best way
Please.
to tell
Well,
it?
let's find out. You know what? Give us the story. If we can't share it, we're just going to jump to us talking about the decision from Archie.
Hey, I love the decision from Archie.
You can tell you did because of how self-indulgent it was.
I am going to pick a random person who obviously is not.
Okay.
I'm gonna pick like Clint Eastwood. It obviously did not star Clint Eastwood.
No, but like
everybody
that
knows
kind
who
of
Clint
name
Eastwood is.
recognition, cachet,
Yes,
like
yes. So I'm just picking someone, and it was Clint Eastwood meets Bugs Bunny, and them kind of teaming up.
okay, cool.
It was not Clint Eastwood when you take this out of context. It was not him, not a 95-year-old Clint Eastwood with
Right.
Bugs Bunny. Although that would be a great movie. I would
watch that movie. Are you kidding me?
And this is my favorite Hollywood story. Have been in Hollywood. And I was pitching like 1,000 things to the producers. And at one point, I pitched Bugs Bunny and Clint Eastwood are brothers.
Like twins.
Yeah, like twins, exactly. And we never explain how that happened.
No,
and just
that's the best.
When anyone asks them, they say he's adopted, and they point to the other one, and that's it. And that's kind of the running gag.
It's not like twins. It's like the Great Muppet Caper.
Yes, it's like the Great Muppet. That's like exactly. I'm sure that was in the back of my head. And I had pitched 30 ideas, and the guys were like, "Oh my god, Tom, you just cracked this open. We've been working on this for years. That's it. That's exactly it. It's Clint Eastwood, Bugs Bunny as brothers.
Yes,
and they have to go off on this mission. They're like, that is absolutely wonderful. We're gonna call up, Clint. Warner Brothers executives and Clint and get this all approved." I was like, awesome, sure. And I get a phone call, like a day later, be like, "Tom, met with Clint, met with the executives. We are greenlit. We are ready to go." And I was like, no. On that's all I had. All I had was that they're like, there was no plot, no anything.
Yeah, they're like, who cares? It's all so good. It'll fall into place.
Like, and they're like, we have one note. I was like, what's the one note? What if they're not brothers?
That's the literal only thing we had.
That's literally all we had.
That's all we had. What if we're not brothers? That is the most Hollywood. That's the best Hollywood story I've ever heard because it's so emblematic of what you imagine. Where it's like, I love it, kid. Yeah.
Perfect. What if it's exactly the opposite?
What if they're not brothers?
So that's how that project went. Anyways, that's fun. I'm super proud of it. It just came out for Batman Day. You can put that. It's a bizarre book because you can give it to anybody and everybody likes it. It's not like it just kind of, for some reason, it very much creates a warm feeling inside people.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like it kind of it set things up for Gotham City Year One because it's another like neo-noir story about Batman that is hard-boiled, grizzled, gets to play with language and just be what it is, unapologetic.
Yes, I had Silver St. Cloud because she had L in her name. Silver St. Cloud. That's what she got in it.
Yeah, just so you got it. Well,
my Widow Cloud.
Widow Cloud. Oh my god. Yeah, I remember reading it and being like, I can't believe this exists. It just, yeah, and it looks so good, and it's it's a beautiful story.
And it's some of the best art I've ever had. It's the best action scene I've ever written. Is when Fudd and Batman fight.
It's a dope fight.
I assure you, I had nothing to do with it, and it was just like panel 1 they fight, panel 2 they fight, and Lee Weeks for some reason. I swear to God, this is true. I called Lee halfway through the book. I was a baby comic writer, and Lee was a legend, and I was like, Lee, you don't, because he was turning in these pages that were like year 1 quality, and I'm like, and I was afraid that he was just like, that I had not given him a script that was worthy of this, And I was like, you don't have to go all out on this book, Lee.
Yeah.
And he was like, Lee only has, 1 gear, he's just like, that's how I draw. So
that's true.
And
that's awesome. Yeah. Oh, Penguin ended. Congratulations on what some are calling the only good Penguin story. I know that's
not true because Jason Aaron wrote a brilliant Penguin story. His one and only foray until recently into DC. And go back and read it. It is a brilliant Penguin story.
It is. I like. There's a couple of Penguin stories in there that are okay. They're not my favorites, but they exist, and I appreciate it. Listen, the Death of the Penguin from Alan Grant and Norm Brayfogle looks great.
Yeah. Yeah, Norm Brayfango draws the crap out of Penguin.
Yeah, amazing. But yeah, and it's great.
There's some really nasty, like a Sam Keith one from
Yeah.
the 80s that's really gross, where he's like eating
Mhm.
sardines.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
no thank you. Yeah, you also have you that must have inspired you because like you can't help it. Every time that Penguin is being described, someone has to describe what he smells like. And I'm like, do you need to get me in that mindset every time? I don't need it every time. Like, don't forget, he smells. I'm like, I know, I get it.
Ram V and I are having this discussion in San Diego a few years back, where Ram, because we both come from novels, and I was saying how much I hate writing novels, and he's like, "Why?" And I was like, "Because I'm terrible at describing smells." I was like, I literally, like, when I get there, I'm like, it smells like lilac. What smell? Like, I just
Yeah, well, I don't know what
like I'm
things. Yeah,
absolutely terrible. Whereas like Ram V would be like, the smell of the old boots that were in your attic that your grandmother once took out and made you think of peace on earth. Like, I don't know if I can, but like, see, that was
yeah,
terrible. Even me trying to be good was terrible. I
yeah,
can't describe smells, so I'm proud that I described one or two smells that at least
yeah.
make me
No,
feel
it's
comfortable. I have no
it's great
skill
because
for it.
it is very much the it's the what do you call them? I don't want to say the wrong word. It's the placeholder for curse words that we've been using the whole episode.
Growlix, as I call them,
Growlixes.
Growlix.
It's the Growlix for sense, where you're like, he smells, and I'm like, I don't know what he smells like, but I assume it's fish
Yeah, it's definitely
because
old fish.
well, because
That's
penguins
him.
smell terrible. Like I
They
love them,
do.
but every
They
time I go
do.
to the penguin exhibit, I'm like, I get me the hell out of here.
They're not a good smelling animal.
No, they're
They
not.
smell like fish in cold water.
Yes,
It's
which
a
is a bad
bad
combo.
combination. No, it's
Yeah,
gross.
absolutely.
Yeah,
But
whatever that gelatin is at the bottom of a can of fish,
oh,
that's
jeez.
what penguin smells like, and what
Oh,
he
perfect.
probably
Thank you.
feels like if we give him a hug.
Wow. This episode is brought to you by Revulsion. Thank you, everybody.
But I like that book, and I would
Oh, it's a
say
great book.
if I've just watched the Penguin show, it's really thrilling. If
Yeah,
you're liking the Penguin show or you want more of that vibe, that's that book, man. Go into your comic book shop. That's literally why I wrote it, because I hear from comic shops all the time that there's no coordination between the studios, that they don't have anything to sell if something is big. And I knew this series is coming. I knew what it was going to be, and I was like, I want a Penguin trade in the stores, and we got it. So
yeah,
if you like that, if your friends like it, if your mother's super into it, there is something for them to read. That's a comic book that's you don't need to know anything going into the story except that he's a
true.
penguin,
Yeah.
or that he's not a penguin,
He's
whatever.
not a penguin, but they call him that.
But he smells like a penguin. Is
But he
all that
smells like a
matters.
penguin, which is just
Yeah.
exactly the takeaway you want. And but it vexed me every time. I'm like, oh, and by the way, the new Penguin book is still friggin' great. Which I'm like, why? Like, why does this have to be like? Come on.
Yeah,
But yeah,
Raphael Del Toro drew the crap out
oh,
of it.
beautiful looking book. Dale Torre
Beautiful
kills it.
looking book.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
and
like
it's
lives
in
in that kind of like Dragonlance kind of. I don't know how to say it. It's a little
yeah.
cartoony, but it has kind of a cinematic feel to the cartoons.
Yeah, it's like cinematic, but it has it's just one foot in reality, another foot in fantasy. It's a really the dude would draw a hell of a Conan book.
Do you want to know something that makes me laugh about that book? I'm giving you all the secrets. First, I'll
Please,
reveal my
yeah,
bugs
let's hear
bunny
it.
movie. So, this is this is a dorky behind the scenes comic book story.
Okay.
I at some point in my long history with Word, which I write in, I auto corrected. So it said Batmobile is spelled wrong. Do you mean boatmobile? And I pressed yes and autocorrect into the future, whatever that button used to be, like
Yep.
add to the dictionary. And
Oh.
so every time I write Batmobile, it corrects it to boatmobile. And this became a running joke with Mitch and Clay and stuff, and they'd be like, and I would leave it in there, and the editors would laugh at me and be like, "You wrote boatmobile again," and I would just it was just like it's like I have some dumb things I sometimes put in my not as that's kind of running gags, and that was a running gag in my thing. And I was doing something for Raphael, who's Brazilian, who I'd never worked with, and I didn't even think about it. And in the beginning, I was like, in the first issue, the Batmobile goes over the side of an ocean and crashes into the water. And I wrote, Batmobile, or you don't start. You start with it
You
floating in
start
the
in
water.
it. Yeah, you're already in
Yeah,
the
you start
water.
with it in floating on sinking. You see the crash in the final issue.
Yep.
And I wrote Batmobile, probably splash Batmobile sinking in the water. And it auto corrected to boatmobile as the old joke went that I've been doing for 10 years or whatever it was. And I didn't correct it, and I forgot to tell the new artist. and he drew a boatmobile instead of the Batmobile. And I looked at it very quickly, and I just thought kind of like, oh, that's the way the water's hitting the boat.
Yeah.
And I didn't even look at it, and it is published that you can look if you look in the first
Yeah.
page, the Batmobile looks
It's
like
a boat.
It's a boat.
I thought it was a boat. I literally, I was like, oh yeah, no, like they got in the Batboat and they escaped. I can't wait to media res. I can't wait to find out how they get into the boat. And it's like, no, it's a car. Now,
in the last issue, Raphael, because we returned to that. It's a what do you call it, capper or a flash forward, whatever you want to call it. And so you return to that same scene, and I'm writing about how he drives the Batmobile over, and Raphael was like, when does it turn into the boat? And I was like, when does it? What? It doesn't. It's the Batmobile. It's sinking. Yeah. And he's like, oh, but I drew it as a boat, and I didn't. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. Oh. So does it transform? Is that the idea? Because I assumed that the Batmobile can turn into a boat anyway. Like
I wrote this whole email. I was like, well, I guess when the Batmobile hits the water,
the wheels recede and it turns
into a boat. And but since it was such a high altitude, it broke and sank, so it didn't function as the boat it should. Cool. So we canonically made up something to make for my famous boatmobile.
It's officially the boatmobile is real now. So now
the boatmobile is real.
We actually know what it looks like too. So if you put that
I had to no prize myself
boatmobile
into that.
Damn it, that's awesome. Oh my god. Black Canary, best of the best.
Black Canary, yes. This is the book I came on here to promote, and I'm talking about it after I promoted
the boatmobile.
Everything else, the boatmobile. Yes.
Well, I didn't bring it up. But I got a chance to read this book, and it's fire, man. Like, first of all, the Ryan Sook art is just next level. It's a gorgeous looking first issue. But you did that thing that's hard for me because I don't really care about wrestling or boxing. It's just not a thing for me.
Dare you?
I know. I'm very much on the outskirts on that one for when it comes to the comic book industry at large. But I don't really care. But I care. Like
I did not. That's not my nerd until my son got super into it, and now I watch with him. So that's now awesome. That's how this book got born. It was born from me and my son watching wrestling together.
That's cool because it is. I mean, it is a love letter to wrestling, not unlike Do a Powerbomb. It's like this is your Do a Powerbomb for
yes, very much so.
But it's cool, and it reminds me of that great episode of Justice League Unlimited where Black Canary fights Wildcat in the underground wrestling or fighting ring, which is also a really fun fan favorite episode.
By that, yes.
But it's great because it's it delivers on the Tom King promises. You have one story that mirrors the real story, and the real story is the emotional core between two characters that are supposed to love each other, but they are at odds with each other. And but we don't have it's really it's a beautiful issue. But yeah. So is it a kind of like love letter to hanging out with your son and connecting on this new like kind of fascination, or is it was this a story in your heart?
It was definitely born of sort of two things simultaneously, as tends to happen. My son got really into wrestling when I was a kid. I was really into comics, and my parents were like, "That's fucking weird. I don't want to." Which, in their defense, it was a little fucking weird.
I know how it feels. I know exactly.
And I've made my life out of it, and this is all, and I still love it because it's fucking weird.
Yep.
But I was not. You try to be a better parent than your parents were. So when my son got into wrestling, which to me seemed weird because it was guys in tights clashing from afar and fake and all that, I had all the sort of objections you have as an outsider.
Yes.
I was not going to be like,
this is weird. You want to feel like outside.
I was like, all right, let's sit down and watch it. And let's see what's awesome about this. Explain to me what you love about this thing so I can kind of. And he explained it to me, and I sat down and I watched it with him, and I started getting into it, and getting into the storylines, and getting into the characters, and getting into the history, and realizing that it's been, there's 80 years of stories told in four corners of a ring, which I don't even understand. Because I have trouble telling stories in Gotham City, but they just have four corners of a ring.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was just so impressed by that I wanted to sort of do that. I wanted to tell a story and see if I could tell a whole story that was big and important, that was about a fight, and that was the climax of the story. That's what wrestling is. There's like all this prehistory until these two characters just have to get into the ring and they have to fight each other and they have to determine who is the best.
Yeah.
And so it very much came of that. And also, a friend of mine had just written a book on sort of the best boxing movies, and I was reading through that. I was like, I want to write a boxing sports movie really bad.
Fair.
So it was a combination of those things. The reason it was Black Canary, it goes back. Oh, Josh, his name is going to drop for the fucking 15th time. There was a summit a decade ago. Scott was there. Becky Cloonan was there. I was there. Steve Orlando. Josh was there. And we were pitching like the next Bat event, is when Scott was still in the book.
Mm.
And there was some, and then the pitch on the table was this thing called Night Fight, which has become almost an infamous pitch. We all just pitch it to each other, and the idea was there we were just stealing from the Brubaker book, where there was Brubaker Fraction did the tournament. Name of that character, Iron Fist, the Iron Fist.
Oh yes,
with Ajan.
Yeah,
I love that my brain can remember Aja, but can't remember
the name of the book.
Yeah, I can remember the creative team and not the.
That's more important, book. I think that's. I'm sure they'd appreciate
it. Yes, Iron Fist. It was a great. It was Fraction's first book that he co-wrote with Brubaker before he broke out. After he had done the Tesla book, which was about Tesla, not the cars,
not the book, not the car. Yeah,
yeah. But so we were thinking about the Night Fight, this thing where there would be like sort of a triangle, and each of the Bat characters had to fight until one was the best fighter in the entire world. Like someone made them fight, and it's sort of beyond.
Okay, all right.
And it was called Night Fight, and we would have all these arguments over who would win this and this, and it became this giant who would win with all the DC writers. And it was great because, you know, we would be like, Cassandra Cain has to win, she's the best fighter. And then Scott would be like, and then she takes off her mask and it's Bruce Wayne, and he was behind it the whole time. And then and then we'd be like, no, the best fighter is Damian Wayne is the best fighter. He's like, yeah, he wins. And then he takes off his mask. He reveals he was on stilts, and it was actually Bruce Wayne. Like Scott has, like, Batman had to be the one on top.
Yeah.
And we were laughing hysterically. I'm sure we were drunk. And anyways, in that thing, it came up that canonically, Black Canary was the second best hand-to-hand fighter in the DC universe. And the best hand-to-hand fighter was Lady Shiva.
Right.
And that always stuck with me. I guess, you know, when I wrote Mr. Terrific, I was obsessed with the fact that his nickname was, I'm the third smartest man. And I wrote extensively about that. And I love the idea that Black Canary is the second best, and Lady those are just, they're not the main characters, and they were the best. And so when I was constructing this WWE book, I was like, I'm going to put the second best fighter in these universe against the best, and to see who is the best. And then I ripped off an old Jean-Claude Van Damme movie I watched way too much as a kid called The Best of the Best, with Eric Roberts, which is a wonderful movie. And and so and that's where the idea of putting Black Canary in. And then, of course, because it's me, I made it all about sort of this mother-daughter relationship.
Oh, sure, yeah,
which is sort of the
emotional core. Yeah. Core. There's also an awesome double-page splash of the entire Justice League watching the fight, which is like one of the. It's like this should be a poster.
It will be a poster. Moment. It's a
really
yes. I'm sure that's the huge takeaway. Sook did that all. I think I can send you. I was like, all the Justice Leaguers in the room out of costume watching a fight. What would that look like? And Sook did all the storytelling. It's all him.
So
I did like suggestions, like maybe it could be this, maybe it could be this, but he did it all. It's all him. And the great part, the great and odd part about this book is, when I wrote it, they're like, how about Ryan Sook on it? And Ryan Sook is one of the greatest artists in the history of the medium. He is the best. But most of us know Ryan comes on and does like the first 2 issues and then kind of hands it off. It's kind of his thing.
Yeah.
And so I was like, how is he going to do this book? Because this is 6 issues and it's 28 pages. It's a lot of comics. And they're like, oh, no, he can do it. We just need patience. I was like, nobody in comics has patience. This will never work.
Yeah.
Like you guys will give up. And they had patience. I wrote this book 3.5 years ago, I think, something like that.
No kidding.
And I gave Ryan all 6 scripts at the beginning, and he's been working on it steady as a rock and just turning in those pages, and it turns in brilliance. And so Ryan Sook is going to do all 6 issues, all 28 pages. It'll all be Sook art. He's doing issue 5 now. We got 4 in the can before we even go to solicits.
Wow.
So this isn't like, Legion of Superheroes, something I love. Like, he came on, then had to come off. Or even X Factor back in the day, a book I just think is like a game changer, a book for me. Yeah. You're going to get that level of art throughout the entire book. It's going to be like when Smallwood was on Human Target. It's also.
Nice.
So yeah,
That's
it's
cool.
good. I'm super proud of it.
And you've been teasing it since, like, I think was at least Strange Adventures. There's been like a Black Canary book in the background of
Yes, there is.
every
Yeah,
time there's a bookstore.
again, we've been working on it for years and years and years, and you
Yeah.
couldn't put sort of more love into it. And of Doc Shaner, I guess I can name drop him. I gave him the scripts, and he wrote back and said, "Tom, that's the best thing you've ever written." So, um,
Wow.
if you hate everything I've written, you'll hate this one the least,
Or the most.
or the
If it's
most. That's if
if
it's
it's
the
your best
most
work.
me.
If it's
If
the
it's
most
the best,
you.
that's
Yeah.
the most me. So
So it's not
we'll
just a clever
see.
name, calling it best of the best.
Yes, of course, that's the meta. I'm just complimenting myself. Jesus.
Tom King, best of the best.
But I love it. I'll send you the second issue. We're almost done edit. We're almost done
Please,
with the
I would love
lettering.
to. I mean, I gobbled up the first issue. It's such a treat. The running there's a running commentary from the guys that watch the show fight and tell you what's happening. I don't know what they're called.
Commentators, my brother.
Thank you. I'm guessing in other ways.
There are other ways. I do. Why so commentators?
Yeah.
Side guys, whatever.
Yeah.
I always trying to experiment in how you'll find out when you do Terminator. You want, or have you already written it? Oh, maybe you've already
It's
done
all
it.
done. I had to write it kind of like fast. But it's
You had to write it fast.
yeah.
You
Well,
had it in your head. If you've been working on this, you had.
oh, I've been living in Terminator for 30 years. It's just finally I have an outlet for it. I have too much Terminator in my head.
I cannot wait for this story. I'm excited.
Thank you, man. When it's I will spare you the words and just show you the pictures.
Shut the fuck up! I want to read the
But
words.
man,
Did you use narrative captions? Did you use third person? Did you use first person? Did you?
I
Do you have all these?
used.
Now that you're a writer, you got to make these fucking choices.
I know I used 0 captions. There is virtually no dialogue, and
Ooh,
the first page I
great.
forgot to put any onomatopoeias. Like they sent me the page and I went, "This is kind of a quiet page." And then I looked at my script and I'm like, "Oh shit!"
In the business we call them SFXs.
Oh, okay. See, that's funny because I always write onomatopoeias, so I'm like, which I know I'm like, in the script it says SFX. Like I did it. Okay. So here's the thing. I pitched the 3 stories or the 3 ideas.
People don't know. This is when you punch someone, you write "pow." That's SFX.
Exactly. Or if, let's say, a Terminator is traveling back from time and a time bubble appears and it says something like "ver" or something.
Yeah.
Like, as opposed to just being a silent bubble that appears out of nowhere and it just completely makes no effort. Like, it just has no impact outside of it looking cool.
Famously, Roy Thomas, when he was on Conan, was like, I'm going to write 100 issues with no SFX. There's going to be none. Because when the swords clang together in Conan, you never hear them.
You do hear them in your mind because of how good the art was back
because of how good the art is. Yeah.
Just like,
but he's like, I'm not doing pows and punches. So.
Yeah, that's fair. I think there's a place for them, and I do appreciate them, but like it's tough. I remember apropos of our we were talking about Bagley a little while ago because of my Bagley poster. There's one of my favorite DC Marvel crossovers of all time, Spider-Man Batman, written by DeMatteis, and art by Bagley. The SFX over it is all they didn't fill in the SFX sound effects. So for the first time I've ever seen in a comic book at that time, the sound effects were in the same kind of like font choices that you would see in normal books like thwack and sock, but they only had an outline and you still art through the lettering.
Yeah.
Which is cool, but it gets a little lost. So I don't know which one I'd prefer. Incidentally, I don't know if we've talked about this on camera, but my wife got me either birthday or Christmas present. I think it was Christmas present, and it was a Mark Bagley original drawing that was
really?
It was an update of the Spider-Man Batman crossover cover. So it's like Mark Bagley a couple of years ago doing Spider-Man and Batman again on the cover, and it's so cool. And I was like, so I got the pencils back. I have it on my wall at my house, and I brought the like a file version to Scott Hanna, who I knew famously, inked a lot of Bagley work. And Scott Hanna was like, thank you, because when one of my first jobs inking Bagley's work was Spider-Man Batman, and I was so green they paired me with another inker, and I
Oh.
always wanted a chance to show them that I could do it. And so he like gave me a reduced rate and he inked the shit out of it. And it's
Oh,
so
that's
cool.
amazing.
It's really cool. So I have the original inks on that one too. So they're side by side. And for like 5 years, they've just been sitting there with no coloring. And every once in a while, I'll reach out to a colorist, and they're like, "No." I'm like, "All right," and that didn't work out. But anyway, so yeah. But the point being, there isn't one. So thanks for watching.
No, I've done that too. I recently wanted to get. There's a Green Lantern piece because we're working on a Lantern show, and it was Darwin Cook, and it was a beautiful Green Lantern. You can find it, I'm sure, online. I think Albert Moy currently has it if you want to buy it from him. And
I'm sure I
it's
can
a
afford it.
beautiful Green Lantern, and Darwin did not ink the lantern symbol on his chest. It's penciled. And I asked Mitch, I was like, if I buy this piece, will you ink it for me? He's like, hell the fuck no, I'm not putting my...
No.
And then I was like, I feel like I know. I gotta find somebody. And he's like, ask J-Bone or ask someone who worked with Darwin, get Palmiotti to do it.
Yeah.
So if I bought that piece, that's the way to go.
You've met Darwin Cook, right?
I did not meet Darwin Cook. I missed when Sheriff of Babylon, which we're currently doing lots of Hollywood stuff with.
About damn time.
About damn time, yeah. Debuted on in Vertigo. He also had a Vertigo act that he was doing with Gilbert Hernandez. They did a book together, like a 3-issue thing. And so it was like a relaunch of some Vertigo something or other. And we were on a panel together. This got to be 2013, 14. And I want to say it was New York or San Diego, one of the big ones. And at the end, Libre Mejo was also on that panel. Libre Mejo is haunting all my stories today.
Nice.
And I was like, at the end of this panel, there's always that time when all the kind of people get together, take a picture, and I can go up to Darwin and I can, because he's, of all, if I list my favorite artists, I would not list any modern artist. I'm such an old school fuck up, but Darwin is my favorite. I have 2 of his pages right there sitting above me.
Nice.
And I was so eager to meet him and just totally fanboy out. And I finished it, and some Grayson fan came up, gave me some. I was like, I hear that, and so I was signing it, and I turned around, and he was gone. And I was like, oh, I missed it. I'll get him at the next one, and he was gone. 3 months later, he was gone.
That's interesting. I had a similar interaction with respect to Darwin Cook. It was just one of those things where it's like I just took it for granted. I was at Baltimore Comic-Con. He had a table, and he looked busy, and I was like, I'll get him at the next one, and then there was no next one. Same with Steve Dillon. That was a rough one too. Steve Dillon at New York Comic Con. I saw his table. I was like, it was the end of the day. I knew no one wants to see you at the end of the day, and I was like,
that's not true. I like getting fans at the end of the day.
I do too. I think it's great.
You can chit chat.
Exactly. But Dillon was there, and I was like, I'll bug him tomorrow, and there was no tomorrow. Just
yeah. Don't wait.
Don't wait. Yeah,
that happened to me with Jerry. I started going to cons again, like 08, 09, just like then.
Yeah.
Because when I was a kid, I didn't go to cons because I was too afraid of. I don't know. I was just afraid. I was a scared little kid. And it was just as the Golden and Silver Age guys were out the door, because of the Keys-Falter hearings, the equivalent of the communist hearings. There is an age gap in comics.
Yes.
I don't know if we talk about, but like
no,
the greatest generation, the World War II generation. There's a lot of comic creators in that generation. The Joe Kuberts and the Jack Kirbys and the Stanleys, guys who fought in that war. And then there's a lot of baby boomers. There's the Len Weins and the Marv Wolfmans. Of course, Len's passed, but Jerry Conway and all, and sort of that generation. There aren't a lot that time in between those. There's a generation between that Joe Biden is part of that in between.
Is that the silent generation?
The silent generation, yeah. That's sort of the guys who are 80 years old now, basically.
Right.
That's sort of those guys who
had no war.
Like,
yeah,
they had no war, but they're young enough to have like born during the war.
Mm-hmm.
That Donald Trump is one of those people.
Yeah.
And so comics basically didn't hire anybody for 10 years between like 1952 and 1962. And because they didn't hire anybody, because the comic industry contracted because everyone was burning comics,
Right.
It meant that sort of the Silver Age and Golden Age creators all went out at the same time with this gap. There were basically two artists that filled the gap. Neil Adams and Jim Steranko. There's like they were so good that they filled the gap. So those guys are in their 80s, or obviously Neil passed, but Steranko's in his 80s.
Yeah.
But so I came in just as that World War II generation was on the way out, and I remember my first cons, and you would still see, Carmine Infantino was there, and you'd see, Jerry Robinson was still around. Al Pacino was still around, and they'd have their like grandkids handling them, and you could still get a signature from them. And I was like, I'll get him at the next one. The whole generation I never got to sort of visit.
Yeah.
Which I was just an idiot at the time.
Yeah. No, I mean, I when I was growing up, it was the early 90s was like when I was getting into comics, and when I say getting into comics, I mean like I was like, mommy, buy me that, like not
fuck you in your youth. You're gonna die just like me, just a little later.
Oh, thank you. I look forward to reading a book about it. But
I've written that book.
Yeah, they're all those.
They're all about that.
I grew up in New Jersey, like I like 45 minutes from the city. I could have been going to all these basement comic book conventions that Kirby was physically at. And like my grandma has been to more Comic Cons that had more star talent than I had up until 2006.
Yeah.
And it's just
I feel the same way. I grew up in LA. Yeah, same thing. I was just an idiot.
You could have gone to San Diego at any time.
Yeah, I could have. Yeah, I could have met Kirby. I could have met all those guys. Yeah. Back in the day, when in the 90s, you could just walk up to them.
I know I could have. There's a non 0% chance that, because I used to have to visit my grandma in Brooklyn every Sunday for 20 years. There's a non 0% chance that I was on the same street corner as one of them at some point or another, and nobody knew. This is just right in the area.
Yeah, half of them were in Jersey, and half of them were Connecticut. They didn't live in Manhattan.
No, exactly. A
few were in Long Island. This is like they were suburban people.
I know, really missed out. But I mean, but the silver lining is we get these experiences now where the new talent, we get to bump elbows with people like that Eisner losing award winning or award losing writer Tom King, or Joshua Williamson, for example.
Soon to be loser EGOT award winning.
You don't get it. You got the you won the Ringo.
Doesn't count. One out of 7 doesn't count.
1 out of 7 means you won one.
No,
you got one more Ringo than I do. For now. But yeah, no, I'm
for now.
But I appreciate the thank you so much for your support, by the way. You've been very like on social media. Tom is always like, hey, look at this guy. And I'm like, I do not warrant that level of attention, but I do appreciate it. It's humbling to see that kind of support and help.
Well, in number one, and I'm gonna put the more important thing second. So number one's the less important thing.
Okay.
Number one, you do so much for the comic industry. You occupy a space of a unique space where you come with a positive attitude, but you're not bullshitting. You're willing to say you don't like things.
Right.
And that's a hard line to walk, and you bring a lot of people in because you're like, let me tell you what I love, but I'm not saying I love everything. And that's a wonderful attitude to have and a hard thing to do, and I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
You do so much for comics. That's the less important thing. The second most important is you're just comics, story, and I want to read your shit. That's the most important part of it, and I cannot wait. So
thank you, man.
I'm not fucking bullshitting. Yeah, I
appreciate it, dude.
I like reading good stories. I love comics. I love reading comics. I can't wait. And I love Terminator. You picked a good property.
I hunted this property, not unlike a Terminator. I literally I told the story just today, but I was
looking it up in the phone book.
I was contacting like Dark Horse and Boom, and I was like, you guys don't have the Terminator license, do you? Like maybe I could bullshit my way in. And Dynamite was one of those groups. I was like, you guys don't have it, do you? And they're like, no. And then like 2 days later, I saw an ad for them reprinting the Terminator books. And I'm like, you son of a bitch, you definitely had it. And they're like, yeah. And we're launching a new book. And I was like, no shit. Well, can I work on it in any way? And they were like, what?
Well, let me express some jealousy because I have been accosting Dynamite because I'm a Game of Thrones person. I love the Sir George R. R. Martin universe. And they have that. And I'm like, let me write some Game of Thrones. And they're like,
Yeah.
who are you? We don't we don't hire loser EGOTs
Right,
here.
exactly. Yeah, we don't hire
So
we don't hire anybody who wins
I
Ringo Awards.
yeah, that's
No, I
so
that's outrageous. I think, yeah, I feel like that might be you're yeah. Well,
but
that's
I
an
understand
oversight
your
on their
passion.
part.
Isn't it funny when you have that passion when you're like, oh man, this comics are for nerds, and suddenly something hits you and you're like, I want to write
Oh,
that.
dude, no, there is.
I want
I have a couple of like properties on my bucket list where it's like I want to just have my name associated with it in some way, and it's not like Batman. You know, people are always like, "Oh man, like what is it? Batman, Spider Man?" I'm like, well, I mean, if somebody offered me Spider Man, I'm not going to say no. But I feel like I'm too close to it. Like I feel
I
like
would say no. I would say
you say
no.
no to Spider Man. I feel like you'd do an interesting Spider Man. I mean, to be 9 panels and
I
it'd be
did get
sad, but
to
like
write
you know
him.
it's
I
sad.
get to write him for one panel in Vision. He says, "Ah, poop."
He
Um,
does. Yeah, that's
that's
true. That's
all.
true.
That's all. Uh,
You gave him
the
voice.
main. I mean, if someone's like do a whatever a 12 issue
Oh,
series and
mini.
fucking
Don't.
Watchmen, but
Yeah,
like to do the main book, oh my god, no. That's just.
that sounds
I
like a
feel
nightmare.
like it does sound like a nightmare.
Yeah.
I the people who do that, and as someone who did the main Batman book for a while, I kind of know what it's like.
Yeah.
I go with God. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. Is there a property besides Game of Thrones that you're like, I would I would really like to try that. Lest we also get you inundated by people who are like, I have that license, so please do it for the love of God. Are you free? And you're like, first of all, no. I am
Yes,
flying
there are
bi-coastally every weekend. There's no way I'm going anywhere near this.
there
But
are hundreds of properties that are like that. The one that pops to mind that I tried to pursue was when Boom had the license to Peanuts, and we're letting people just do straight up Peanuts comics. Remember when they do a Kaboom?
yes.
Um,
Yes.
and that was a long time ago, but I had some Boom connections, and I was like, how do I? They thought of me as like the sad robot guy from
Yeah.
Vision, so I was like, how do I get it over to? Yeah, I would to
Peanuts.
write some Charlie Brown Peanuts. Oh my god, I would.
Well, you more or less did. I mean, what is Kite Man
That's
if not
yeah, what is
Charlie
yeah.
Brown made manifest? But yeah, that's
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah. Maybe with your Archie credit, that would go further for it because the Archie book, the decision is just an Archie book. Like it's not subversive or
it's not no.
ironic. It's just an Archie book. This belongs in a double digest with 10 other Archie books just like it. Uh, I bought it sight unseen because I was like, well, Tom King's writing an Archie book. I know how much you love it. Your kids are big fans. You have Archie art all over your house. What is his story going to be? Obviously, the solicitations were it's the big decision. Archie's decided he's going to pick Betty or Veronica, if only to get them off his back, and and then it turns into a farce of epic proportions that like
It's
yeah,
just a stupid ass Archie book.
it is
That's
a
all.
stupid ass
That's
Archie book. Oh
all
my
I
god,
wanted. That's all
just
I wanted to write. I just pitched my next Archie book, and they said
no.
yes.
I thought you said you were only going to
I
do the one.
no, I got permission to do four more.
More,
I'm gonna do.
more.
Yeah, no, I love. It was so much fun. I had so yeah. No, I like doing the best version of things and coming to that property rather than bringing that property to me. I know that sounds weird from a guy who made Fudd into an anti-hero, but
Uh-huh.
but I did not want to do any. Yeah, I had no desire to under. First of all, Ed Brubaker already did that Archie story in Criminal, where he
Yeah.
like everybody is, where Archie's like doing blow and killing Veronica. Like it's already done.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I just wanted to write the best I could in the genre of Archie.
Yeah.
And so that's what the decision is, and that's what the next one is. I mean, some things are like that. You just, I mean, and sometimes I wish I could do. I wish I could do that with there's certain characters where my natural instinct is to, deconstruct
Sure.
and look forward. And I wish, if I was ever to write, like a cable book, I'd want to do the Rob Liefeld version of that. I wouldn't want to do. I'd want to do
Sad
big
Cable.
guns.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Cable's already pretty sad, with this whole weird
Yeah, but
origin
he's
story, but
cool sad.
but
He's
I
not
would
like
want to do it with big guns and like I want to do the classic version. That's
yeah.
yeah,
Now here's my question.
and
Does an
yeah,
artist pairing change your perception? Like if you were paired with somebody that would
always.
like that would kind of like evoke the Liefeldian feeling. Like somebody like have you been reading that Spider-Man Rain book from Kari Andrews, the new one, and how he's
Oh
channeling
yeah,
McFarlane and it's like I'm like
yeah,
I've never seen a book like this in my life except McFarlane in 1991 and it's
yeah,
insane. And it's just
yeah.
like I didn't know you could do this book. Like this is an insane looking book, and I can't believe that every like couple of weeks it comes out. That Marvel's like, yeah, no, put that out. I'm like, this is insane. Like,
Maybe he had,
stuff like that where it's like, here you go,
yeah,
here's Cable. He's huge.
of
He has a
course,
trunk. He looks like Big Shot from the Tick, where he has an actual like steamer
yeah,
trunk on his back with guns in it.
of course. I just saw my buddy Clayman did a Cable, for like a con pamphlet. And I was like, that's the Cable I want to do. He was huge, his gun was huge, and his eye was shining, and I was like, yes, awesome.
That's awesome.
Yes, your artist is that's your first thing that dictates that dictates every single thing you do on that book is writing to that artist and making sure you get out of them with it. And that was part of Archie. Like I was working with
Fernando Ruiz, right? Or is that Dan
no, with
Parent?
Dan Parent on that.
Dan Parent. Yeah.
Oh my. Who's you can see Dan Parent art on the floor that I just bought from him. I just bought some covers from him over the weekend in Baltimore. And I'm not gonna have Dan Parent do like I don't know, depressing Archie, doing blow and killing Veronica. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm with Dan Parent. I'm gonna do what Dan Parent does better than anybody else, which is great gag comics.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah. I mean, that's my whole career going back to Vision. I mean, I very much remember when they gave me Walt on the Vision book, and sort of
Yeah.
looking at because he had come off this Magneto book,
Yeah.
and I was reading through it, and some of the pages I thought were transcendent, but then when it became sort of a standard Marvel fight book, I was like, I don't know, you had this guy who draws so haunting, and then you have him doing like punching and kicking. He's not Rob Liefeld. That's not his. You need haunting, and we need to take those haunting parts and make that an entire book, and that's what Vision became. It
Yeah.
was all inspired by what Walta. Just he's like an artist. He can do stuff that other people can't. Don't put him into sort of this category of that.
That's fair.
So I try to do that with all my books.
Yeah. Yeah.
Always write to the person. Now I'm not saying I always succeed, but I definitely try.
I mean, one thing you can never say about a book you've been on, I mean, since Sheriff Babylon, is that the art is weak. The art is always fantastic.
I've had good artists.
You've had some good artists over the years. And the writing has been phenomenal as well. But only getting better. I'm really.
If only it wasn't behind Growlix's, you could see how good it is.
If only we could get that C word worked into there more. then you'd sell 300,000 copies. You'd be doing better than Turtles.
That's all that's better than Turtles. Oh my god, I'm so looking for that Turtles book with Joelle and
it's so good. Oh man, yeah, I got the inside track on that. I'm reading that book ahead of time, and it's a good book.
Jason can do anything. Jason's inspiration. That's all.
He's amazing. Yeah, that Batman Off World book is so awesome.
And the nicest guy in the world. If you ever get a chance.
So soft spoken. Yeah, no, I got a chance.
Soft spoken and chill. And my favorite Jason story, since I'm telling all sorts of stories was I am a guy who's constantly in existential crises to a fault.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wake up in the morning and I'm eating cereal. I'm like, why am I eating cereal? I've been eating cereal since I was a kid. I should eat something else. Is there the world? Is this who I am? Am I just the cereal guy? Like I turn every fucking moment into that.
I'm a cereal guy. Yeah.
And so I was at a con with Jason, and both of us were doing sort of well. And he was I think he was like at a table with C.B. Sobalski and Hickman, and he was just like he was chilling in a corner, and I was like, Jason, can I ask you something? I was like, yes, because he started like 5 years before I got in or something. He was kind of we were the two of us were the end of the Bendis generation. We were the last ones in the door, and maybe Fraction too. And I was like, you've done so much in comics. You've done events. You've won all the awards. You've done indie. what's next? Like, do we go to Hollywood? Do we like where do we go, man? Like I feel like I gotta keep moving. I'm a fucking shark. I gotta keep moving. And
Yeah.
Jason's just like, no, man, this is it. This is what you do. You just keep doing this.
Yeah.
I was like, you don't want to like. He's like, no, I just want to write the best comics I can and just keep living the life. You know, want me to
Yeah.
get you a beer, buddy? I was like, yeah, I'll take a beer, Jason Aaron.
Yeah, Jason.
Yeah, so
That's cool,
God
man.
bless. God bless the Zen of Jason Aaron is going to be my
Seriously, no, yeah. If you can, folks, I do recommend take 90 seconds and just have an interaction with Jason Aaron because you will feel better. There's so many creators though like that where it's like, you know, Jason Aaron will help me. He's like a human quaalude, not unlike Danny Warren Johnson, who is just like, hey man, yeah, it's all cool, man.
Yeah, that dude's
Middly,
cool.
middly, meow. But
I hate cool people. Fuck them.
they're so cool. You're cool too. You're a cool guy.
Oh yeah, no, I'm super. What are you talking about? I'm like goddamn nervous ass nerd. That's what I am.
No, it's just, you know, you're always thinking. You are like a shark, but you know, but about
Always thinking.
existential dread as opposed to like the
Always
actual.
existential. I put
Yeah.
one, at the very end of the Archie. I put this Kierkegaard quote because to me there is something existential about Archie because he never accomplishes anything.
Yeah.
Like he's constantly not making the decision. It's like
Yeah.
it's that thing I love about Charlie Brown. He doesn't kick the football,
Yeah.
and there's something deep about living your whole life and never actually doing anything. It's it's some metaphor for death I can't put together.
Yeah, the Tao of Archie.
Yeah, and so I put this Kierkegaard quote at the end that Jughead throws at him.
Of course.
And my former editor of mine, Jamie Rich, a friend of mine, he wrote me. He goes, I didn't realize I was your Archie until there was a Kierkegaard quote until you had to put some existential dread in the very last panel.
Yes.
I was like, that was me. That's me.
Yeah, that's so true. So when does Black Canary come out? When's the first issue?
Okay, so the reason I'm promoting it now is because I think the order cutoff is the end of October, which I think people might be distracted by another event that's coming in early November.
Yeah.
So it drops at the end of the year. It's like right before, or right? No, it drops at Thanksgiving. It drops at Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Great.
So
Well,
yeah. So around the end of the year, around Thanksgiving, Christmas kind of time.
all right. Cool. So the final order cutoff is at the end of October. So keep an eye out for that. Make sure to
October. Tell your comic shops that the comic shops you'll be sent copies of them. I've already sent some out, and so this is a proof is in the pudding book. Read it. This is the next big thing. And
that's the best.
If it's for the people who bought Supergirl, buy this. It's the exact. That's the audience. That's how big this book is going to be.
Yeah. No, it's dope. It's gorgeous. It's sweet, and yeah, you're gonna love it. I guarantee it.
I appreciate anyone who goes and pre-orders. I can't tell you how much it means. Yeah, it means the world to me. I've been living, half my life in Hollywood. I spent 2 weeks in LA, 2 weeks in DC with my family. I leave. I was telling you before. So I leave for LA a week from today.
Yeah.
And one thing about being in LA and working sort of on TV and movies like all the time is it just reinforces how much I never want to leave this community and how much comic books just absolutely are my heart and my home, from when I was 7 years old to being however old I am now. So guy, you all who are still going to the comic shop, who are still like being like, I can put a phone down and read a comic for 20 minutes. You are keeping an entire community going, and I can't say how much I appreciate it.
Well, it's you have added something to the zeitgeist in a really like true and profound way that really hits me where I live, man. I'm very indebted to you and your work.
It's Kite Men saying hell yeah, right? That's my
that is the first thing that I gravitated towards. I definitely did not get on record and say that I thought it was derivative and terrible, and I like hated it. I think my actual quote is something like "hell yeah," more like "fuck you."
I love it.
I was just
So,
not. I was not on board. But
someone told truth to power, and I
yeah,
appreciate it.
it's that does not always work, ladies and gentlemen. That is not like the way to go through life. Is to be like, yeah, they'll respect me. I'll just kick the door in at the office and just give them a firm handshake, and I'll get a job.
At
That's
the
not
at
how
the
this
ring
works.
at the Ringos, they have a bag. They give you a swag bag that has a bunch of stuff in it, a
Yeah,
bunch of like graphic novels and stuff. It's very fun. And this year they gave out a Funko, and the Funko was the Kite Man Hell Yeah Funko.
that's awesome. Did everybody come up
And
to you and have you sign it?
yes, I signed a few, like quite a few. And so people were like, "Tom, you must be so complimented that this thing you created is the giveaway gift for the Ringos." And I was like, "Oh no, that just means they called Funko and were like, what did you over order that nobody bought that we can give
Yeah,
away for free?"
right. Well, we haven't
And
dumped
they're
all
like,
the Kite Mans in the landfill
"Yeah,
yet.
yeah, we're just about to put the Kite Mans
Yeah.
down there with the Grogus. So there you
With the
go."
Grogu's. I gotta tell you, I will say, I think, I'm not above saying when I'm wrong. I was wrong about Kite Man, at least as much as like I love his story. War Jokes and Riddles. His story was great, but also everyone else likes the Hell Yeah. I'm not, not that I've warmed up to it, but I have certainly softened on my opinions about the Hell Yeah. I'm like, I understand, I appreciate the Hell Yeah. I'm just saying that it
It's
didn't
all
hit me the same way it hit everybody else, but I understand why it's popular, and
it's
I
all
mean, it's for the
when
cartoon.
Bendis, yeah,
Yeah,
it's like, no, when Bendis and I have dinner, he's like, "I have Miles Morales," and I was like, "I have
you
Hell
have
Yeah."
Kite Man. You have Kite Man, man. No, yeah,
Yeah, that's good.
there's Kite Man who before Hell Yeah. There was a hugely popular YouTuber years ago who basically used Kite Man as his logo. That's how little
Oh,
Kite Man was used. To I assume he can't use him anymore, like because DC's like, oh,
I don't know. I just saw a movie today called Canary Black, and
what?
I was like, does anyone at Warner Brothers have lawyers? We gotta.
Right,
Did you
we got
see
to get
that?
on this. Somebody gonna sue
There's a
somebody.
there's a
But
new movie called Canary Black. I'm like, I can't believe this is coming.
wow, well, that's maybe it's like made by some like subsidiary of Warner Brothers, so it's okay.
Let's hope. Yeah,
Let's hope for their sake. But Tom, thanks so much for being here. Of course, check
my
out and
pleasure.
pre-order Black Canary Best of the Best #1, which will drop around Thanksgiving. But also pre-orders are until the end of October, so just keep an eye out during the month of October and make sure to contact your local comic book store or go through either Previews World or Comic Hub, and you can do the thing. But
And when is Terminator? When is your book? Come
the
on.
first issue of Terminator by Declan Shalvey and Luke Sparrow and myself and Colin Craker will be dropping on October 9th, the same day as Absolute Batman. So uh, let's get
So
those.
you'll be in the store anyways. You'll be picking up Absolute Batman. Get that Terminator with you. Come
Oh yeah,
on.
I'm definitely please. You're gonna be when you see the Batman who lifts, you will also probably see a big old Terminator on the shelf, and you
The
should pick that
Batman
up.
who lives.
Is this so huge? And
It's
if
cool.
you're shopping in the Wayne, New Jersey area at on October 9th, the day the book comes out, I will be doing a signing at my local comic book store, Zap Comics, between 5 and 7 p.m. They're going to do a thing. They called me the day that it was announced that I was doing a thing. My comic book store guy was like, we're already like, are you free on the 9th? And I'm like, I'm free this is what I do. He's like, yes, come on. And he's like, I ordered 100 copies. And I'm like, oh no, do I have to buy them? Because I feel like I'm going to have to
No,
buy them.
they're gonna all sell out, and that's gonna be great.
But yeah, I'm excited. I'm thrilled. And then we get to go to New York Comic Con, and
I'll see you there.
I will see you there too. It's gonna be dope. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And
Okay.
yeah, Josh will be there. Maybe we'll do something. But in the meantime, check out Tom and everything that he's doing, all the amazing stuff he's doing.
Thank
We'll
you. You can
guys
see
later.
my dog in the background. She made it through the whole thing. Look at
Yeah,
her.
she slept the whole slept through the whole thing.
The whole thing.